So now you have spent some time thinking about you. You know who you are, what you've done, what you're good at, and you know what you're looking for. So what's next? So in this section, we're going to learn how to understand the critically important elements of a job description or a job posting. Now, one of the worst things you can do is show up to an interview without really truly understanding what the role is about. Believe you me, this happens a lot. Your chances of success will be, well, quite frankly, zero. And you're wasting your time and you're wasting the company's time. Understanding the job is actually as important as understanding yourself. And ultimately, what you'll need to do is understand if you and the role match. Do you have what they are looking for, and can you show it? And do they have what you are looking for? Now let's be clear, there's not likely going to be a 100% match. There will be a gap, and that's normal. But it's how you deal with the gap that is important. And we'll work on that later. So your challenge is, have you identified what makes you match the job, and have you identified the gaps? And are these gaps a problem or an opportunity? Basically, you'll need to identify the key requirements of the role, and we'll divide these into two broad categories. The first category is the requirements of the role that I actually meet. I have the experience, I have the educational background, and I can prove it with a qualification such as a degree or a diploma. And the second category is the gaps. These are requirements that I don't meet yet. These may be growth opportunities, or quite frankly, you might have some genuine gaps compared to the ideal candidates they are looking for. Once we've identified the requirements and thought about how we measure against them, we need to make a plan of action. So again, number one, the requirements that I meet. How do I demonstrate that I have the required skills and other requirements for the role? This analysis will play a key role in your cover letter, resume, and interview preparation. List the experiences, the completed tasks, the roles, the awards, the certificates, etc. that prove you have these skills. List times where you have demonstrated the competencies, the skills. Projects where you have accomplished similar results to what they mention in the job description. Now, in terms of the gaps, there are two possible outcomes. The gaps may be significant, and you may decide that this role is in fact not a good fit for you, and that is okay. You may not have the minimum requirements. That is okay. But there may be gaps that are acceptable. Yeah? One obvious example is when they mention something as desirable. Being familiar with coding is desirable. Remember, the job market is not perfect. The ideal candidate that the company is looking for may not exist. They may need to make compromises and accept candidates that don't meet 100% of the desired skills. Yeah? So you can move ahead even if there are gaps with your application strategy. But you will need to demonstrate that you're resolving these gaps quite quickly with a development plan. For example, I'm taking a course in coding. I have no experience in coding, but I am taking a course online. Here's my plan of action for learning this type of coding. Or I regularly read literature on coaching and leadership. I actively seek feedback and mentoring from colleagues. Okay? So now let's see an example of a job description and how to read it carefully, in detail, getting the information that we need.